Hello, everyone. This is Miss Reininger, and today we are going to talk about forms. Now, forms are objects that take up space. So let me show you what I mean. Last week, we talked about shapes. Now, what all shapes have in common is that they are all flat like this piece of paper. In contrast, forms take up space. Okay, so I want to compare and contrast with you. So let's look at what these have in common. So if you look right here, this circle, yes, it's round, it has a round outline, and so does this form, but this is flat. In contrast, this looks like a ball. Okay, so this is called a sphere. Okay, very good. This is not a circle, it's a sphere. All right, now right here we have a flat triangle, but if we give it sides, we can turn it into a form called a pyramid. Can you say pyramid? Very good. We can also turn a triangle into something called a cone. See how I've made that cone by giving it space? Can you say cone? Very good. So if I were to turn it around, I could put some ice cream in it and I could eat it up. All right, right here I have a flat square, but on this side I've given it sides to make a form called a cube. Can you say cube? Very good. Right here I have a flat rectangle, but here I've given it space, and this is a form called a cylinder. Can you say cylinder? Very good. So cylinders are things like if you were to see a can of soup or a can of pop, those are cylinders, okay? Now, there is a type of artist called a sculptor who makes a type of art called sculptures. Now, sculptures are art that take up space. They're not flat like paintings and drawings. So I want to show you an example. I'm going to present my screen with you, and I would like to show you a sculpture, and maybe you've seen this sculpture before. Okay. Now you should be able to see this. Okay. So this is a sculpture that is in South Bend. So if you've ever been through downtown South Bend, or if you've been to the Century Center, you've probably seen this sculpture right next to the St. Joe River. It's actually on the river a little bit. And the title of this work of art is called Keepers of Fire. And the sculptor, the artist who made this, his name was Mark D. Severo. It was made in 1980. It's made of metal and it's really, really big. And if you wanted to see it in real life, you could go to the Century Center in South Bend and you could actually see it. Okay. Now, this doesn't look really like anything that we see in real life. So this is a work of art that's called abstract. Can you say abstract? Very good. So abstract art is art that doesn't look like anything from real life. So if I were to make a picture of me, like a drawing of me or a sculpture of me, that would be realistic because it looks like something from real life. In contrast, abstract art doesn't. So this is abstract. Okay. Now, this was made to honor the Potawatomi Native Americans that lived here before we did. In fact, Potawatomi, if we were to say that in English, means keepers of fire. Okay. So it's to honor them. Now, today we are actually going to make sculptures ourselves. So let me exit out of this presentation, and then I would like to show you what we're making. Okay. So today we are going to make a sculpture out of things that we probably have around the house. So we are going to make a paper sculpture. I'm going to turn it around so you can see it from all directions, and notice that it takes up space. Okay. So here's what we need to do first for our project. We need to gather our materials. So here are some things that we're going to need. We're going to need lots and lots of paper. If you have colorful construction paper, that will be nice and bright. It'll give you a nice bright sculpture. But if you don't have colorful paper and you just have plain white paper or lined notebook paper, you can use that. And if you want to make that colorful, you can color on it with crayon, or you can color on it with marker. You can even put designs on it. If you have permission from your parents, you could even paint on it to make it colorful. It's up to you. Okay. Now I have all these colors of construction paper. So I'm going to adjust my screen so you can see what I have on my table here. So I have all these colors of construction paper. Another thing we're going to need is scissors and glue. So it could be a glue stick, it could be squeeze glue, whatever kind of glue you have should work. Okay, now we want to start with one piece of paper, and this is going to be the base where all those other objects are going to sit on top. So I'm going to leave that kind of aside. And then I'm going to get these other colors. And what I want to do with them is I want to cut them into strips. Now you could do some long strips, you could do some short strips and medium strips. They could be thick or thin. I wouldn't suggest doing too thin because if you have super thin strips, it might be easy to rip. So about this size would be good. This is about 1 inch. If you want to go a little bit wider, that would be great. So I'm going to cut some long, medium, and short strips. And I'm going to cut a lot. So you're going to take a lot of time just cutting strips. So you can either watch my demonstration first and then create later, or you can stop the video at any point, do what my instruction is, and then continue when you're ready. It's up to you how you do this. And these strips do not have to be perfectly straight. It's no big deal how they turn out. You could even purposely make them wavy or zigzag if you wanted to. That might add some visual interest to your sculpture. Maybe I'll do one on purpose that's kind of not straight. Okay, so I'm going to put that color aside. Maybe for this orange one, maybe I'll purposely not make it straight. Whoa, I'm going to make it wavy. See, they don't have to be straight. I think I'm going to do a new color now. Maybe I'll do this turquoise color. I'm going to do a nice short, thick one right there. Maybe I'll do some of this green because I want my sculpture to be nice and bright. And I might not use all these strips, but I'd rather be prepared when I start my sculpture than having to go back and cut more strips in the middle of it. And maybe I'll do a zigzaggy one. Okay. Now, here's the next step after you have your strips. What we want to do is we want to start to glue these on our paper, but we don't want to glue them flat on the paper because that won't make a sculpture. That's a collage if you just glue pieces of paper on another piece of paper. We want them to stick up and take up space. And so here is how we need to do that. We need to give it feet to stand. And so to give it feet, what I do is on each side, I just fold it over and fold it back. And look, now it has a foot. Then I need to do the same thing on the other side and fold it back. And now I have another foot. So I have 2 feet to stand on, okay? Now what I do is I put glue on the feet so the feet can stick to the ground. So I'm going to put glue on this foot. And I'm going to stick it to the ground. Now you might want to hold it for a few seconds so it stays. So I'm going to count to 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then, and if you want to, you can kind of press it back like that. And then I'm going to stick the other foot to the ground. So I think I'm going to stick it right here. So that's where I'm going to put my glue. And I'm going to hold it down for about 5 seconds. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh, this one's going to flop over. So maybe I could do something to it so it stays a little better. Or maybe I want to produce something different. I think I'm just going to fold it right here. And there we go. Now I have 2 hills instead of 1. So if something doesn't work out exactly how you imagine, change it and maybe you could turn it into something really cool. Okay, so now I'm going to take another strip and I need to give it 2 feet. So I'm going to fold it over, take this end and fold it over. And now I need to stick my feet to the ground. So I'm going to put some glue on this foot. And I think I'm going to put this one over here. And then this time I'm going to have my feet face the inside. So on this one, I had my feet face the outside. You can have your feet face the outside or inside, and it will work. I'm going to put some glue right here. I'm going to stick it down and hold it so it stays. So now you can see the start of my sculpture. And now I'm just going to keep adding to fill up this black paper. So I think I'm going to add a green one. So I'm going to give it some feet just like before. So I'm going to fold this side back, fold this side back. And then I'm going to stick my feet to the ground. So I'm going to add some glue. And if you stretch it out more, you'll have a long, short hill. If you have it closer together, you'll have a taller, skinnier hill. So I'm going to make a taller, skinnier hill right here. So I'll have my feet close together, as you can see here. They're actually a little bit on top of each other. See that? Okay. Now, I can do different things with these too. I don't have to just do loops and hills like this. If I want to, I can do something to make it look like stairs. Now, this is a little tricky, so pay attention if you want to do stairs. What I do is I fold forward and then flip it over and fold backwards. Flip it back over and fold it forwards. Flip it back the other way and go backwards. Turn it over and flip it forwards. And it doesn't have to be perfectly even. Flip it back the other way and go backwards. And I just keep doing that all the way across until I'm out of paper, okay? Now it springs back kind of like an accordion. And now I can stick it. So I'm going to put glue on the foot. And I can have it like this, but if I want it to be more like stairs, I could stick it to another loop that's already on there. Okay, I'm going to put some glue right here and see if that sticks better. Yeah, that's okay. So a big part of art is problem solving. It's okay if things don't always work out your way. Maybe think about another way you can handle that or solve the problem. Okay, so you can see I kind of have the stairs right there. This almost looks like a heart, like the top of a heart. Now I think I would like to do some orange. Ooh, I've got some wavy paper here, and I better give it some feet. So I'm going to fold it back, fold it back. Then I'm going to put some glue to stick the feet to the ground. And there we go. That one looks neat. Now I think I'm going to do another one. Oh, I have this purple little short zigzaggy one. Maybe I'll make this one kind of look like a crown. No, yeah, I'm going to do the crown. So to make it look like a crown, I'm going to glue one side. And then I'm going to make a little circle of glue where this is going to go right on the page and stick it on. Now, that's not going to stay really well. So if you decide to carry your sculpture anywhere and you have this crown sculpture, oops, then you're going to want to be careful with that. Now, I don't think that's going to work out so well. So as you create art, problems are going to arise. You might have to adjust your thinking on it or change it altogether. This is a point where I think I'm going to change it altogether. That just didn't work out for me, and I don't think it's going to work. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to see if I can do something called a curl. And I'm going to take a marker here, and I'm just going to kind of roll it up in there. And maybe this will work, maybe it won't. Big part of art is problem solving. I'm going to curl it again to see if I can curl, or if it will curl more. I'm just wrapping it around this Sharpie here. And it kind of created this curl. I like that. I'm going to stick this curl on. So I'm going to stick some glue on there. And where I had the glue from before, I'll just stick that on there. Now I have a curl. Ooh, I like the curls. I'm going to do a bigger curl, I think. So I'm going to take this piece of paper. So I have a longer piece here. And I'm just going to roll it around. Just going to wrap up this marker here. I just want to see how this turns out. It might not work. Ah, it did work. Maybe I can open it up a bit. Ooh, look at that. It made a spiral line like we learned about a couple weeks ago. Now I'm going to put some glue on the bottom. And I think, okay, if you look here, I think I'm going to put this underneath this. This kind of looks like a bridge to me. So I'm going to have this little curl spiral beneath the bridge. Look. Okay, now I could stop there or I could keep going. I think I'm going to show you one more type that I know how to do, and maybe you're going to discover new ways to create paper sculptures. I want to show you how to make something called fringe. Okay, and here's how I make fringe. What I do is I take a strip and I just take my scissors and I make short little cuts all along the edge. They don't have to be perfectly spaced out or anything. I'm just making short little cuts. Be careful not to cut your fingers. Take your time. And then what I can do is I can kind of go like this and separate them a bit. Oh, it looks like a grass hula skirt for my glue stick here. Huh? There's a little hula skirt. Okay, and now I could do that on both sides, or I can just do it on one side. I think I'm going to leave it like that. And now I can just stick it on how I'd like. So I can make a curl out of it. I can make, you know, one of these little bridges out of it. I think I'm just going to do a simple bridge, maybe right here. So I got to give it feet. Put some glue on the feet. Stick it on. Make another foot if you haven't already. I should have done that first. I'm going to put glue and stick it on. All right. I think that's my finished product. All right. So now, today, what we learned about was forms. Forms take up space. We learned about a type of art called sculpture, and artists that make sculptures are called sculptors. We looked at that sculpture from downtown South Bend called Keepers of Fire, and then we started creating a paper sculpture. Now, I hope you have fun creating. Don't worry if you make mistakes. That's all part of the learning process. I don't want you to feel worried about it. Just move on. Use your problem-solving skills. I hope you have a great day, and I will see you next week. Bye-bye.